So that was an absolute war. Anthony Joshua truly putting his name in the heavyweight rankings, knocking out Vladimir Klitschko in a Fight of the Year candidate. Possibly the Fight of the Year. I think round 5 was the round of the year. Just an incredible fight between these two. And, I'm hoping they do the rematch. Let me get to the fight, though, just analyzing it. I had Joshua up, winning the first 5 rounds straight. I thought Vladimir Klitschko, of course, won the 6th round with the knockdown that he managed to score. The 5th round, you got to remember, was also the round where Joshua dropped Klitschko, but I only scored that 10-9 for Joshua because of how powerfully, how strong Klitschko managed to come back and had Joshua reeling, just reeling at the end of it, looking like he might go down. Of course, then I scored the 6th, 10-8 for Klitschko. I scored the 7th and the 8th for Klitschko as well. Scored the 9th for Joshua. Scored the 10th for Klitschko. And then, of course, in the 11th, Joshua managed to drop and then finish Vladimir Klitschko. Dropped him twice, actually, and then finish him. But just an absolute banger of a fight. Even the rounds where Joshua won, Klitschko was making him work for it. Klitschko is looking really good, especially for his age, 41 now. Just turned 41 a month ago. Very, very good legs on him, just sticking and moving. Great agility on him, showing that has a tremendous background. Has taken care of his body over all these years. Very healthy lifestyle from the guy. And, he showed it in this fight. Was definitely in it to win it. Trying to basically, try right the wrongs that he faced against Tyson Fury. A lot of people were really down on him, feeling like he didn't have anything left, and he showed against Joshua. He's still one of the top heavyweights out there. You still have to be a great heavyweight in order to defeat Vladimir Klitschko, regardless of what fashion you take in order to do it. Especially early on when he was able to push. Or in the moments at the very least when he was able to push Joshua back, he was giving Joshua a lot of problems. Because even though they measured out their reaches as Joshua being longer than Klitschko's, I think a lot of that was really just Joshua's shoulders and his torso. He's just got a broad build to him, whereas Klitschko tends to be a bit more slender, but has longer arms. And I think if you were to do an armpit to the end of the fist type measurement of their reach, Klitschko's arms would actually come out longer. And I think it kind of showed in that fight too, because when it was at long distance, he was able to counter Joshua fairly well on the inside. He was able to ratchet off some of those nice left hooks that he tends to throw. And he, on the outside, he just had the advantage. He had the timing advantage straight up and down. Joshua's best moments, I think, really came when he was able to throw in combination, cut the distance, throw in combination, force Klitschko to try and predict incorrectly exactly where the next punch was going to come from, and then just, hit him with that 2-3-4 shot as opposed to the 1-2. Throwing single or a couple of shots at a time wasn't really going to be working out for him. So throwing in combination really did the job against him, especially when he was able to catch him with those uppercuts. Those uppercuts are absolutely brutal. One of the nicest uppercuts in the game, if not just the entire heavyweight division as a whole. And, Joshua did the damn thing. Very impressive victory for him. And it was good to finally see him, walk through some fire, to see him under, true adversity. We had seen him as an on-top fighter, a guy that was able to get momentum on you, and once he had the momentum, he didn't let it go. But here against Klitschko, he had the momentum taken from him, and then proved that he could take the momentum right back. He also showed that he was able to catch a second wind. He's had shown certain weaknesses in terms of stamina in the past, or at least I've seen them from him, in the Brazil fight and the Dillian White fight. But here against Klitschko, even though he did gas out briefly for a couple of rounds there, he managed to get it back and, come on. It seemed just as Klitschko was starting to kind of hit the wall, cardiovascularly wise, for himself. So Joshua just did a fantastic job. Props to Klitschko as well, showing that even at an older state, more worn state possibly, he still has a lot in the tank. He still has a lot in the tank. They got the rematch clause, and there's a possibility they may do the rematch, and I'm definitely open to it. Fight of the year candidate, if not the fight of the year, with one of the rounds of the year that made this much money. 20 million pounds is what they're splitting between them. That's $13 million. By the time the pay-per-views come in, they both may be clearing 20 million. Makes too much money. It makes too much dollars, too much sense to not do the rematch. On top of the fact that it was just a fantastic fight, the rematch may even do better numbers just because you have all these highlights to build off of. You know, it's not even like you're still in a fight of like, can Joshua knock Klitschko out, or does Klitschko have anything left in the tank, or will this even be a fun fight to watch? Because Klitschko fights tend to be boring by and large. But no, it was a fantastic fight, two-way action, all the way around. Just an incredible fight to watch, and I'm definitely interested in a rematch. Should that happen, and I think it just makes too much money for it not to happen. On top of the fact that Klitschko in the post-fight interview was saying that he felt like he had Joshua. He felt like he had Joshua dead to rights, and if he had just done a couple of things more correctly, he might have been able to get him out of there. That's the mentality that he should have as a former world champion, a long-reigning champion and everything. But failing, if a Klitschko fight happens to not come off, I do know that WBA has Luis Ortiz ranked number 1. So that could be a distant possibility, I'd imagine, just because Ortiz on the risk-to-reward ratio doesn't necessarily slot in terms of being the most ideal opponent in comparison to like a Deontay Wilder or a Kubrat Pulev, who is the number 2 ranked IBF ranked fighter. IBF doesn't have a number 1 ranked fighter at the moment, so Pulev would basically be a fighter where if Joshua was to fight him, he would clear out his mandatory for another year, which would be fairly solid at the very least if he doesn't fight somebody like Klitschko next. Of course, there's Deontay Wilder out there with the WBC belt. Very interesting fight, of course. But I think one that all the parties involved will be looking to really, truly make into a big mega fight. I think there's a little bit of seasoning that fight could have still to be a truly, truly like blockbuster fight, both United States side and United Kingdom side. But man, this was an incredible fight between these two guys. I was screaming at the TV as I was watching. It was just an incredible fight to watch. And I'm definitely interested in the rematch. I do favor Joshua to win in a rematch, but I can't necessarily entirely count Klitschko out. And as much as I didn't even count Klitschko out in this fight, even though I did feel like Joshua was going to be stopping him, I was thinking he was going to stop him in the 9th round. I always felt like if Klitschko was able to land on his chin, it could be good night for Joshua, and it was looking real ugly there for him for a little while. But he wasn't able to pull it off, and Joshua was able to come back and get the job done. And if they choose to run it back again, hopefully they have a better undercard for the rematch and everything. But I'm definitely down to see it. So that's pretty much all I got to say for this one. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.